Welcome to Project Vanguard podcast, home of the community of veterans in energy, where we explore the journeys of veterans leading in energy. We're building American energy dominance through an all-the-above approach, where energy security is national security. And our mission is to double the amount of veterans working in the energy industry. I'm your host, Kevin Dauphin. Today's guest is Will Hossain, a Navy veteran turned asset manager who's helping steer clean energy projects across the country. Will's building on-ramps for more service members to join the industry by leading efforts inside of his company to create a veteran employee network, as well as a rotational leadership program for veterans new to this industry. We talk about how the current energy boom is entering an optimization era, where discipline and precision matter more than the hype, and why that mindset is tailor-made for military veterans. Will shares how he built a veteran network from scratch, how he's translating military leadership into asset management, and why networking isn't about self-promotion. It's about service, showing up so others can climb the ladder you lower behind you. Let's get into it. Will, great to have you on the show, man.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. It's good to be on.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, who knew that you grabbing me outside of a panel at ACP years ago would lead to this moment?
Yeah, it was very serendipitous. It felt like, just bumbled into your TED Talk, veteran ERGs, and that was history in the making.
Yeah, I bet you regret that now.
Sometimes I do.
I
I'm like, what did I
bet you
get
do.
myself into?
This guy keeps asking me to do stuff. I want to do it, but man, I don't have the time to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a constant refrain.
That's the nature of what we do.
Well, how have things been going, man? It's been a couple weeks since we caught up.
Been getting busy, but it's good busy. It's different stuff happening with the projects that I'm working on, and still trying to, figure out what I want to do when I grow up. But otherwise, keeping on.
Yeah. So talk to me. I mean, it's an interesting time to be in the industry right now. What's the through line with all your projects and all the interesting things that are happening right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So the big thing is optimize, right? The funding makes things harder to develop new stuff. But from our perspective, it's like, all right, we've got what we've got. We've got things in motion. Energy's not going anywhere. Data centers are blowing up. AI is the hottest thing. Energy is here to stay, and it's any and all sources. So we're adapting, we're adopting, and we're going to be okay. But yeah, as far as what else got keeping me busy is, keeping the lights on and then trying to get veterans into this industry. Like that's my side hustle within the company, and
Right.
trying to tap into that. So
Yeah, I want to talk about that. But also, I just came back from RE Plus. We did a bunch of vet stuff out there like we do every year. And I was surprised. I think they added 10% to the attendance this year, which I thought was going to be down with how hard residential was hit. And that's a huge component of SIA. But there was a pretty upbeat attitude. And I think it goes back to what you just said. Like, yes, there's a ton of headwinds right now for our industry, but the tailwinds are greater. You can want all the non-renewable energy or non-emerging tech, but there's just so much demand that this industry is the fastest to supply it. So that's not 100% market share that it'll pick up, but it's going to be the lion's share of it.
absolutely. And kind of alluding to another part is with all the cut funding, we'll call it, we're going to see, I don't want to use the word optimization again, but we're going to see a culling of the herd, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to see projects that are properly developed. You're going to see better constructed projects, and we'll kind of fall away from this. Oh, there's a bunch of down turbines, or all the solar panels are just in a pile of trash in the corner of a project lot. As that free, easy money goes away, it's going to be the real players that are stepping up and moving forward. The next 5 to 10 years, the projects are going to be more fruitful, more robust, and better operating than what we've seen in the past. So in reality, people are going to start appreciating the renewable side of things because they're not going to break down, and because they're just a better quality product, hopefully.
Right. And zero marginal fuel costs. But I mean, when I look out on social media, and I'm not big on non-LinkedIn social media, but when I have seen it, and there's this whole like bro culture around solar residential, anytime there's a bro culture, it means that there's excess margin, right? Like anytime there's finance bros, it's like a sure sign, or CrossFit bros, like something has gone wrong. This is a inflated market for the period and a bubble that's going to burst. And so hopefully we wash out the tourists and the bros and we get back to just being boring energy. It's just a power plant and it needs to be run extremely well as one.
So you mentioned the residential. Are you calling me out as a finance bro because I just installed some solar panels in my house?
No, you did?
I did.
I love that. I have them. I mean, I keep thinking, why is everyone complaining about rising utility costs? And I forget that I have a fixed cost from the system I installed 5 years ago or 8 years
That's
ago.
what I'm trying to do. Lock in my rates. So
Yeah. No, I mean, it's fantastic. I've really enjoyed it at least. Plus, you have the whole resiliency thing. Did you get a battery?
I did. I
Yeah.
was not going to do it without the battery.
I don't know who does that these days without a battery.
I mean, that's expensive.
It is, but I mean, like, you suddenly have all the resiliency, like, we have outages all the time in Texas, and I don't notice as much because, my battery kicks in and I don't even notice, right? I don't
Exactly.
have, like, a monthly service contract for my generator and someone's coming out and doing stuff, and then it breaks down, like, some of my neighbors will have that. But I wanna go back when we were just talking about, like, your sit rep around what's happening right now. You mentioned getting veterans hired. Talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about what are you doing at your company and in your day job? And then what are you doing as kind of your internal side hustle on getting veterans more careers at the company and in the industry?
So yeah, my day job, I'm an asset manager. So I had wind farms and solar farms that under my purview. So dealing with budget, dealing with compliance, making sure stakeholders and shareholders get reports and know what's going on, and working with the plant managers to make sure that they got what they need out in the field to get the job done and get the maintenance done and keep them on track, and working with accounting and whoever else needs to have input on the projects on all aspects, jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
But there because, someone's got to be that keen eye seeing what's going on at each project from the office point of view. So
Okay. That's the day to day,
that's the day to
keeping
day.
the lights on, managing the P&L for a portfolio of operating assets. What's the side hustle, quote unquote?
Yeah. So the side hustle's just been a growing since I got hired, idea that like built in my head. And then obviously meeting you down at the ACP conference a couple years ago sparked the ERG pass. So I came back after that, looked around, I was like, oh, we don't have an ERG. We got a women's ERG and we got a DEI committee, but we don't have a veterans group. I don't even know who all our veterans are. I know a few, but I mean, look into this. So back when Geronimo Power was National Grid Renewables still, reach out to National Grid and like, hey, like trying to start an ERG here. What's that look like? So they help get things started and figured out, hey, we're like a 280-ish person company and I've got 12 to 14 veterans at any point in time. There's fluctuations, people come and go. So built that out, started a monthly veterans call, relatively no agenda most of the time. It's just kind of shoot the shit, talk about your past time in the military or whatever topic of the day, talk about VA benefits, how to get them if you got them. That's kind of like the monthly thing. Find some local projects to work along with and make donations to. And yeah, and then it's kind of like, all right, well, what's the next step? Like my group is small, like we're 5-ish, 7%, something like that of this company. And the industry standard is out, 15, 14, I believe, pushing 20.
It's 10. If you're at a utility, it's 15 to 20.
Okay, that's what it was. Because I think doing a veterans and energy conference a little more utility heavy, but yep. So I'm like, at least get on par with the industry. So what's next? So what's that look like? And thinking about my experience in the industry and getting into it, I got out of the Navy, went right to my MBA, and had no actual energy experience. I was a nuclear reactor operator. I know operations work. I know procedures. I know electrons, but I don't know how NERC, and I didn't know what a PPA was. So like, come out of the MBA program, looking for a job, get connected through Career Center with another MBA that was working at National Grid Renewables at the time. And now we're Geronimo Power again. And he's like, yeah, we got this asset management role. You do budgets, you work with the operations. I'm like, that mixes well with my background. And then I got hired to backfill someone, and There was no training. There was very little like leadership support. It was just kind of like, hey, you've got some time, figure it out, start reading through the documents. And,
Right.
we've got analysts here to support you and all that stuff. Like, we trust you'll figure it out. And I was like, okay, I mean,
Right. Distance, direction, execute.
I can do it. It's going to take a bit, but I'll figure it out. So, like, that was like nothing's crazy. But as I learned more and more about the roles and the job and the stuff that we do outside of my day to day, it's like, man, there's a lot to this to know. And it'd been awesome to have like, a 3-month, 6-month onboarding where you get to kind of see different parts of the company other than a 2-week. Here's a bunch of slideshows and here's our general overview of the company and what we do.
I mean, you're kind of describing a skill bridge internship, right? Like that 3 to
Almost.
6 month test out, but you can't do that coming out of an MBA program. So what do you do?
I wasn't even thinking about the skill bridge aspect at the time, but yeah, I was just like, I know like a little program. And then I was thinking like, what would be more robust? Cause I was thinking MBA, someone that has experience in the world, but doesn't know the industry. Like, how would they fit in? And kind of stumbled on this idea of a veteran rotation program, which is what I pitched, where, hey, you take this competent individual and you put them in a company for 18 months of training, and they're going to be able to step into a leadership position. Because at the time when I was building out the program, we were thinking of a lot more growth. And we thought we were going to be onboarding a lot more projects than we currently have in our playbook.
Right.
So, like, there's going to be a lot of field opportunity. There's going to be construction opportunity. There's going to be operations opportunity, especially. And we can't keep poaching the industry for individuals. Like, there's only so many qualified people that are out there working and willing to be in the middle of the country. So let's build our team. Let's make that look good. And what better group than veterans, right? We're trainable, we're accountable, and great to have on a team. And, I'm biased, but let's build out the veteran population. So pitched that, got approval, still working through it, what that looks like and how it's going to work. But now, like, it's manpower and recruitment that is kind of the hard part for our team. We just don't have the HR bandwidth to kind of step into that new world of how do we recruit veterans? Because that's not my job, but I can do it.
So I've got something that's new. I don't know if we've talked about. So there's a group I work with. They're a veteran workforce development nonprofit called Next Stop Veterans. And so they've done a really good job of integrating into the transitioning service member pipeline on base in different locations, mostly the Gulf Coast, a little bit in Tennessee, other places. But they have like a really strong pipeline to get veterans into like shipbuilding, right? As that's a huge initiative for DOD, DOW, whatever. And so I've been talking to them and they recently got a grant focused on, some of these energy roles. And so their express mandate is to place into this. And so where I'm trying to connect the dots is on these employment opportunities where they have the talent pool, right? It's refreshing every like 45 days of 40, 60 candidates that are coming off base. And that's critical, not just for you as an employer to have access to like fresh blood that's leaving the service, that's junior enlisted and isn't going to go use their GI Bill, but are ready to like get in, or they're a little bit more senior and, make good fits for different rotational programs. But they just free up so much access to get these folks into your roles. And having high quality leadership in a time when the market's tight is going to be a differentiator and keep everybody alive when runway gets, eroded and burn rate becomes so critical in these companies.
We're looking at those different avenues, hiring our heroes, see,
Yep. So already vets.
Already vets. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we've got those pipelines being built, and now I'm getting my HR on board to what that looks like. And also the power of the skill bridge program is finally getting realized. And so I think our team is going to start approaching that direction. So that'll help.
So let me ask you a little bit deeper. Did you end up talking to GE about their rotational program?
I did. I got a little bit of advice out of it. I think the difficulty from my perspective is we're not a large company.
Right.
Where it's like, we can't just say, hey, find where you're happy after your rotation, right? We kind of have to pre-slot you a little bit of like, all right, we have this general idea where you're going to land.
I think that's actually better.
And it is, I think, for someone coming in from our position where it's like, oh, I like knowing where I'm going to end up after this time. So like, I think that's a positive, but some others might be like, oh no, I want to feel out a company and figure out where I land. So that's where the different flavor comes in from what I propose.
Yeah.
And hopefully get to initiate. But yeah, that was the big one. Like when I was thinking about normal rotation programs, like that you come out of a grad school and then you land in one for a big company, like
Mm-hmm.
you get to taste a lot of flavors, you get to get a lot of stuff in big business, but then you got to find your fit. And we just don't have that luxury of having open billets for the military, but open standing job descriptions available.
I think one of the things you'll find is by kind of pre-slotting them because of your size might actually reduce some friction. Like I know we probably need to get somebody from GE to talk about how the JOLP, the Junior Officer Leadership Program, is currently run. But I know in the past, one of the points of friction has been, that you have to do 3 to 4 rotational periods before you make a selection. But sometimes you do 1 or 2 and you're like, "This is it. I didn't know anything about supply chain, but this is where I should be." And there were a couple of different competing camps, and I see the value in both arguments. But, some are like, "If you don't finish the rotational program, what's the point? And we don't see the full value, and you don't you're just trying to get a job." And the other side is, "We're trying to fill seats. If we can fill them sooner, that's better." Because sometimes you finish those rotational programs and you don't have a slot already assigned, and you finish the rotational program and you don't get a job. Even though you've done everything great, they just didn't pre-slot you. So I think
Yeah.
for a company your size, pre-slotting is gonna be a lot more efficient for the time and energy putting in than waiting till the end to see where the business is.
Exactly. And like I said, we don't have that luxury of trying it out and not having a fit. Like that fit needs to be discovered early on before we're like, oh, we need to go a new direction, or hey, like clicks right away and it's like, all right, let's get them trained up.
Yeah.
Get them ready for that new role. So
So at the very beginning, you said one of my favorite questions that I like to ask people, "What do you wanna do when I grow up?" You kinda said it rhetorically asking yourself, but, like, what do you wanna do when you grow up now, Will?
oh, you had to throw that back at me. What I want to do is, be happily, independently wealthy, doing whatever pops into my brain for the moment. We actually did take a assessment recently, like a widget assessment is what it's called. And I guess I'm a inventor and discerner, which makes a lot of sense on how I operate, right? Like I'm not the big picture guy, but like you give me like this broad topic and I'm interested in doing this, and this in here.
Yeah. I mean, optimize this.
And then it's like, all right, so I've got these new ideas. Here's the problem, poke some holes, kind of do that. But then I get stuck in this own internal feedback loop with myself where all I can do is ideate and pop holes in it, send it back up and critique it. But then like I never get through all right, send it out to the world and see what happens. Like, how do we make it get boots on the ground? Because like I just get stuck at that part. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, the next phases, which is, tenacity and engagement or enablement. Like, that's just an operator in me, but, like, I don't love that part of it. It's like, all right, that's, eating your vegetables.
Yeah.
But the big thing is being able to get it from that ideation and poking holes phase into, all right, let's send it out. Let's put it out to the people, or, just get it to that next level. And that makes a lot of sense now. So, yeah, I've got these grand ideas sometimes, but I just get stuck in my own head. That's where it comes down to.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, this industry has a lot of mobility and a lot of growth yet to come, so I think that's a great place to be. So, like, what's your advice for vets that are, looking at this space, trying to get in this space, curious about this space? What's your advice to them?
My big thing that I'm always terrible at, and I acknowledge it, is networking. And everyone says that network, like throw in 100, 200, 300 job applications out into the ether is not how you're going to get a job. Like,
Yeah.
I've never gotten a job that way, and I don't expect I ever will.
That was before AI slop too, so, I mean, I can only imagine now.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, like, anytime I've done the job board posting thing, like, it's been very little success unless there was some, like, oh, maybe coming out of the MBA. It's like, all right, we're going to look at you as a candidate just because you're coming from a partner school. But that's a networking thing. But, like, it never fleshed out. But then when it's like, oh, I made a connection with someone through some other network or through a meeting, obviously, like, we connected because I stepped up and asked you some questions, and then, it started the ball rolling internally from my company side, but then externally with Project Vanguard. Yeah, just putting yourself in a position to talk to someone, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions and network. Just put yourself out there. Magic stuff happens when you do it.
Yeah, so how's Project Vanguard like, give me an example of how that's helped you in this and how that could potentially help somebody else trying to repeat what you've done to get in, but maybe faster or easier.
Yeah, I think Project Vanguard, as it continues to grow, is a great opportunity for someone looking to get in the industry, right? We've
Mhm.
got this growing network, a lot of really helpful people that I've engaged with. And while I stepped into working with PV as an employed individual in the industry, I can see the value of, all right, I'm new, I'm looking for something. Hopefully, maybe you want to go work in the Midwest somewhere and you're coming from one of the coastal bases and you want to go back home to Ohio or Texas or Illinois or somewhere. And you're like, how do I get into an industry that's stable, pays well, and has camaraderie when you're in the field? It's a good place to start.
Yeah. I mean, back to your earlier point on like, mobilizing and aggregating all this like veteran talent in the company through the ERG. One of the ways I think about Project Vanguard is kind of like a super ERG across all the different ERGs and companies in the industry to kind of bring together vets around this shared community building. I don't think you're in it, but we're now doing like a Friday coffee chat where if you're in Slack and you join the hashtag coffee channel, you will get matched with someone every Friday at 10 a.m. And then, either jump on a hangout real quick inside of Slack, or you jump in and you just schedule a call. So like while we're recording, I had forgot to put it on my calendar. I get a Slack message that says, "Hey, you've been matched with Brad. Find some time with Brad," right? So, like, super easy. Just get in there and they'll just randomly match you with other members of that channel. So you just like either catch up with somebody. I know Brad runs a great solar agrivoltaics company down in San Angelo, Texas, solar experts, but then also you just get new members. People are curious that can just get matched with somebody if you're an introvert and you're worried about like chasing down people outside of conferences, for instance, or anything else, right? You can just kind of
Yeah.
make it a little bit easier to find someone who you can communicate with.
Putting yourself in a position to get thrown into random situations like that is wonderful. And I think that allows you to test different parts of how you think, how you interact with different people types. And, maybe you just finally find that person that you hit it off with and is like, oh, what do you do? Like, whatever your vibe is, like, I want to be a part of that.
Right.
And that's awesome. Yeah. Anything that encourages or engages that. And all of us made a blind commitment at one point in our lives to join the military, not knowing the hell we were going to get into. So, like, make that a regular thing. Like, it's not a dangerous risk. Like, throwing yourself out there, like, what's the worst that can happen? Oh, no. Oh, guarantee the feelings of hearing a no from some random person hurts way less than
Right.
being stuck in your own rut. So,
Well, I mean, like, I don't expect that every veteran we run across and talk to about this industry is going to like fall in love with it the way,
I don't know.
you or I have. But, if they explore it and they go, no, in sales, no is the second best answer. So if they look at and they know, no, I don't want to do it, but I got an informed decision from other vets that work in the industry, and now I know I don't want to do it for this reason, great. That'll help you be more sure and find what is right for you. And if you find a yes, we can help you get in. And if it's a no, no big deal. Glad that we could help you in that way.
Well, actually, I try to reject my energy background. I got out. Nuclear wasn't the topic of the day from the energy perspective, and I was like, "Well, I don't. I'm not going back in operations. Like, I did my time there.
Yeah.
So, like, what value is nuke? I wanted to go more of a pure finance play,
Finance bro.
play the numbers.
Oh man.
Yeah, exactly. Wanted to be. Then I started seeing the world that they lived in, and I got a taste of it. And it's like, well, why am I making all this money for other people?
Hmm.
They're not creating anything for society. And so it's like, well, yeah, you're always trying to make money for people, but at least have an objective with it. Like with the energy, it's like, all right, I know how to do this. It makes sense. We're doing something that provides a value to the world.
Right.
All right, let's buy it. Let's see what happens with this national grid thing and asset manager thing. So like I tried to get away, but
Yeah.
someone wisely redirected me this direction. It's like you've got the background. Like this is a slam dunk for you. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Let me utilize my 8 years of skill set that I built. Like, why would I throw that away?
Yeah.
So and it was the right move. It made sense once I was in there. So don't reject your past skills. That's another thing. Leverage them and lean on them.
Yeah, as much as you can. Sometimes your CV is a bullet list of things you never want to do again,
That's
and
fair.
that's okay. But keep those skill sets that you've honed, military or post-military, and put them to work for you.
Actually, kind of on that note, one of the cool things, we did do some like in-person interviews with some Marines, and I was trying to bridge that gap between, all right, you're a field ops guy, like, you're sweeping buildings, doing that kind of stuff. Like, break that down. Like, what do you do when you approach that situation? And try to convert that into how you approach a troubleshooting situation. And the guy could just see the light bulb go off in his head when he's like, oh, I gotta take this step, like search for the danger. Well, when you're opening an electrical panel, similar concept. So like that skill set translates. That's really hard to see that. But
Yeah.
like I said, your skill sets still translate. You just gotta unlock how to sell it and how to make it make sense in a different world.
Well, I think that's great. I think that what you've been able to accomplish and lowering the ladder so more people can get into the industry sooner, faster, maybe at better pay, commensurate with their skills is hugely influenceable. So I really appreciate you making the time to be on here today, man. And, as we keep spinning up the Minnesota chapter and the work you're doing there, I'm just real excited about how this community continues to grow. So I just want to thank you for making the time to be here today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Project Vanguard podcast. If this episode sparked something for you, share it with someone who's ready to think differently, whether it's about an all-the-above energy approach, how energy security is national security, or the veteran workforce in our industry. If you believe what we're building, a quick review goes a long way. You can do that wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, keep up the fire.